Greetings.
Greetings. Welcome to Film Gazers, the
The
Minisodes.
Minisodes.
And this is an extra special, technically not a minisode.
It's two squashed together to make a full length one. It's a twofer.
Yeah, a twofer. And that is in honor of the Twisaga. Yes,
The
that's
Twilight
right.
Saga.
We are at the end of Twat Saga.
We made
We
it.
made it. We will be bringing you Breaking Dawn Part 1 and Part 2 in this episode. So I am extremely happy to only have one more to watch because at the time of this recording, we are doing Breaking Dawn Part 1, and then we're going to break. We'll be watching the movie and recording the second part and stitching it together for you guys.
Uh-huh. I
So
already watched
let's,
both of them, but
oh, there you go. So let's get right into part one, shall we?
hmm
I yeah, really hated this one too.
You're too
Um
old to start. That's the problem. You're too old to start the series. You should have been there in 2009.
I I think even in 2009 I was too old, just on a spiritual level.
You're like, that was never my bag, baby.
No, it just, and I'm not trying to be like insulting to people who like it. Like I said, I can understand why, like I do, like I get it, but I don't get it. You know what I mean? To an extent. It's just I don't enjoy that kind of stuff. So for me, like this is just, I mean, it really is some of the worst in my opinion.
I mean, I feel like everybody's kind of in on the joke with the movies, though. Like people that
That's
love the
true.
movies, you know what I mean?
And I do hear most people say that it was the books, that they had enjoyed, and the movies just
Hmm
kind of came, they come along with it. And yeah, it's very made fun of by the its own community. Like,
Right, right.
so that's why at least we can appreciate that now. Um, but during the thick of it, when people were like super, super into it, I was like thinking back, I'm like, for this?
They
This?
were so dreamy.
I mean, the wedding was pretty, but like
Oh
it
man,
looked like
that
anything else you saw on Pinterest at that time. I guess that's why everyone was so like probably like, oh my
Pinterest
God, the
was new then,
wedding.
though.
Yeah, that's true.
So many able to see that wedding with the underneath that tree. Oh, so beautiful. And her backless dress.
It was fine.
Beautiful.
It was fine.
It was fine. I
Because
loved it.
it opens, of course, this movie begins with shirtless Jacob immediately,
Always.
always.
I'm okay with it.
And it starts out with all the wedding invites going out. So you're kind of like, oh, welcome back to the gang. Here's everybody and what they've been doing, like
Hmm
what they've all been up to. And I love that we do get a little, it's like Edward Teenage Vampire Rebellion. Like that's one of the things he's like confessing to Bella before they get married because he's like, oh, you're marrying a monster, Bella.
Of
You know
sucked
who I am. I'm
blood.
Vampire Dexter.
Right. I love how he had it. They were monsters, Bella. And so was I.
It's I still killed a human, Bella. Like she's like, and then and Bella is so cool with it. She's like, oh, that's cool. Like they deserve that.
Yeah, exactly. They were bad people. I don't care.
I know. And then, they're supposed to be having this deep conversations and all this. And then at one point, though, he's kind of telling her, like, I guess about the horrors and how he agonizes over, his existence and the evilness of it and yada yada. And then she's basically like, if you can do it, I can do
Yeah.
it. It's just like, oh my God, it cracked me up because I was like, I feel like she was like saying it in an insulting way. Like, well, if your ass can do it, I know I can.
Right. Your whiny ass can do it.
Your dumb little turn of the century brain. So this is where we get a little introduction to they do these like dream kind of sequence things or whatever. And they haven't really done this throughout the series. If it involves like Alice and stuff, I feel like they have. But they've been doing these like dreams with her. So the first one is like her little wedding death dream, and there's like blood and everyone's dead and yada yada. And
Right.
the Volturi guy is the minister marrying them or something. I'm like, okay, so is this premonitions or is this just her stress before the wedding? Like what? And this is that's literally the only mention you get of Volturi or whatever they are in this whole movie. This movie is 2 fucking hours long.
That's for the second half of the movie. I mean, the second movie.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I'm sitting here thinking about the beauty that is Lord of the Rings and its extended cuts, and that they extended this somehow to be like the equivalent. Breaking Dawn Part 1 and Part 2 are basically the equivalent of like one of the extended cuts, and we still like get nothing substantial. Like this movie could have been easily an hour and a half. Like,
Yeah, they could have definitely shaved off 30 minutes.
I mean, even more than that, to be honest. It was just everything was very extended. Like I said, the beginning with the wedding, it lasts for fucking ever. And then her face when she's walking down the aisle, she looks like she's in excruciating pain or dread. I just, I mean, I don't, yeah, her facial expressions in this film. Like, I can see why people just like dump on it. Like,
Yeah, because I think that's supposed to be her version of awkward. I think that's to her, that's what awkward is.
yeah, but was she supposed to be awkward walking down the aisle to her own wedding and look like she's gonna like puke? Like, I don't. She is terrible in this movie. Like
She's
the
terrible. She's a
all of
terrible
them,
Bella.
and she never gets better throughout them. Is the
No.
even more surprising part.
I think the only time I somewhat like her is the Breaking Dawn part. Like once she becomes a vampire, she gets a little bit better.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's the second movie. So once she becomes a vampire, I feel like I like her a little bit better. So by the last movie, she kind of reins it out a little bit. It just took 13 hours to get there.
Yeah. So then there's a big fancy reception, and so they have Laurent's girlfriend show up, but I thought the other girl was in love with Laurent.
I think you're thinking of James, the
I don't.
redheaded girl, Victoria.
Yeah.
James was her mate, the one that they killed in the first movie.
Oh, so who was Laurent? Why? But Laurent was hanging out with them.
Yeah, but he was going to kill Bella in the clearing.
No, I'm saying, why are they having anything to do with someone who was with Laurent? Like he wasn't a good vampire. And
I don't think it mattered.
the girl at the wedding, and she's like, oh, blah blah blah. Like, why even fucking have her at the wedding? Like, I don't know. It was
Those
just
are like their
weird.
people, though. Like I think Edward lived with them for a while in Alaska. Those are
Mm.
their cousins from Alaska. They say they call them
Oh,
cousins, but they're
yeah, just other vampires.
that are vegetarians essentially.
Oh, okay,
Like they still
okay.
associate with other vampires that aren't vegetarians. They just don't
Mm.
have them in their same coven usually.
Okay, okay. I just didn't know if that was supposed to be foreshadowing or something like that for the next movie, or if it, yeah, or I'm just like, okay, this is fucking stupid.
I mean, it is kind of foreshadowing too. So
Okay, okay, good to know, good to know. And then Jacob finally shows up at her wedding and he says he's been in Canada. So I don't know what that leads me to believe, if it's with the vampires, as the Volturi, those other Dakota Fanning chick or whoever she was. I don't know.
Jacob, I'm pretty sure he was tracking somebody.
Yeah, they don't really go into that yet. Um, and then again, it just goes to the wedding stuff. But I do feel like the she finally like really smiles when Jacob shows up. Like even during her vows and everything, she's like doing a little
Hmm.
smirk But like Jacob, she gets like full on smiles. But then it gets weird.
Because they talk about fucking.
Yeah, because they like he mentions the honeymoon, but like makes a
Like you can have a
jest.
real one.
Yeah, like you're not gonna have a real one. Come on. And then she's like, yeah, we are. And then he's like, are you fucking crazy? He's gonna kill you with his icicle dick.
His popsicle penis is gonna kill you.
This is a pudding pop you can't handle.
Pudding pop I can handle. It's a little bit softer. It's not frozen solid.
But no, and then Jacob gets like really overly possessive again. Like, what else is new? I get, and still, this movie's 2 hours long, like some of the others, and they all just do the same thing. It's literally the same thing every movie. Every movie we're seeing it. It's just, oh, this time she's pregnant. Oh, that time the wolf people are after her. Oh, this time, like
The
there's like
wolf people.
there's literally one difference, like one little climactic antagonist thing, but everything else is literally the same. Bella and Edward, Jacob gets pissy. Oh, they need Jacob's help. Oh, now they're all gonna help. Like, it's just ugh.
It's like watching an episode of something.
I know. Well, and they emphasize throughout the entire wedding scenes and everything of the forever. Oh, and I'll forever take care of her and she'll forever be in our family because haha, they're vampires forever.
It is
Means
gonna be forever.
yeah, that's exactly what it means.
Wink, wink.
I know. It was so silly. So we finally get to the fucking. They go to a honeymoon. He surprises her and takes her on a small island outside of Rio. Esme, Isle Esme.
Because Carlisle bought it for Esme for her birthday or something.
Yeah, something. And so then, like I said, it's fuck time. And then she starts frantically shaving and stuff. I'm like, it was literally your wedding day. You already shaved. Like, there's no.
There's no way you didn't. I guess because it's her first time.
Yeah, but she's shaving her legs. That's what
I
I'm done. Like,
know.
that's what I've done. I'm like,
But when you're young, when you got goosebumps, you're like, oh my God, my legs are hairy again. I got goosebumps. I got to shave again. Or were you not that kind of girl?
I never really wore shorts or things like that anyway. So,
Mm,
yeah.
I did as a teenager.
Mm-mm.
I had legs. I had nice legs back then. I
No,
don't anymore.
I never was a leg girl.
I was for a very short period of time.
Got them thunder thighs. So at this point in the film, the night of the fuckery,
The fuckery.
um, this is when I start in my notes even I'm like, okay, now we're gonna do yet another song. Like at this point, like the licensed songs are like all it's too much. Like there really was that period of time in the 2000s and the earlier 2000s where movies were just doing it felt like a series of like they were just making a big music video.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like it was like
They were
literally
making
like
it for the soundtracks, essentially.
yeah, exactly. And I know, and yeah, they're decent soundtracks. I like some of the songs on this. Some of them I don't like though. And it just got too repetitive. Like I'll say this is exactly the reason why I quit watching Cruella because it was so much like that, like montage song scene,
Mm.
little tiny bit of dialogue, montage song scene. And that's a lot of what this movie is.
See, I didn't mind it in Cruella.
It was aggravating. Andrew and I literally turned it off. I was like, I am not in the mood for this.
I just like Emma Stone too, though.
Yeah, no, I don't like her that much, I guess.
Yeah.
So they do the deed, and the bedroom is like fucked. She's all bruised up. He feels horrible.
I'm like, how's your vagina?
Right. Well, she loved it, apparently. She's like, it was
Yeah.
fucking great.
And I was like, nobody says that their first time. Come on.
Not Bella. She's different. She's special. And then Yeah, so that's when I got to 45 minutes in, and I'm so incredibly bored of this movie. So then we get another song montage. Oh, now I'm wearing lingerie, and now we're playing chess, and now we're just fucking like crazy. And then it cuts
They're
to
not
though
though.
they're
That's the
not.
point. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The point
So
is that he won't touch her again. So he's trying to wear her out, like physically, mentally. It doesn't really show that in the
no,
montage.
that is not
It
what
only
it
shows one
really
time where they like were doing something super active.
exactly. And it doesn't, it's like, okay, it's supposed to be keeping her distracted, but instead the way they cut to everything, it made it seem like they were doing those things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, they did not give the implication of it enough. It seemed like they were having a wonderful, great honeymoon and that they were banging the entire time. And then it just cuts to a weird cut all the way with like ending with her like just fuck me, Jacob, basically, or not Jacob, Edward. Like she's just
Please,
like
please.
like crying about it, and then it
Yeah.
weirdly cuts to Jacob and a very weird like it was edited weird, like I did not, it was edited weird in that part, and he's whining some more, but we do get at least a little bit more info about the imprinting because obviously that's going to come into play.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and Bella turns out she's fucking pregnant. She starts getting the symptoms instantaneously.
Because it's a vampire baby.
An unprecedented vampire baby.
Mm-hmm.
So they're able to do the cover up now.
The cover up.
Of oh, she's sick and everyone doesn't know
Oh,
what's
right, right.
happening. And then she gets back to the Cullens place. Yeah, this is when the second half of this movie it gets better. The first half just should have been, I mean, cut so much. Like they should have cut so much of that out or been just much more clear and not relied so much on these stupid montage things. Like
Mm-hmm.
if it was based on a book, like then use your words. Like, you know,
Well, especially because she
like
was narrating sometimes. Sometimes she narrates.
just in the beginning though, usually. And like, yeah, like there's no consistency even with
No.
how the story is told in the films, and I don't like that. And during this time too, Jacob is basically standing up to his wolf pack, and kind of getting a little alpha, I guess I'm presuming, to where now that he's come up and like what's the word I'm looking for? Like I guess the other wolf didn't submit to him though, but like he wasn't submitting to the other wolf, so now he's like on equal footing, I guess, with Sam.
Yeah, because he like made his own pack essentially.
Okay, so that is like
Like
100% where that went happened.
yeah. So
Okay.
he's like his own alpha of his own pack.
Okay. Because that's how strongly he feels about protecting Bella. Because at first he thinks
Uh-huh.
the Cullens have done something to her because she doesn't come back for a while and she's supposedly sick. And he thinks, okay, well, maybe she's turned or
Right.
whatever. It's even worse because
She's
they,
pregnant with a monster baby.
and she is like gaunt looking. The best thing of this movie was whoever did her makeup to make her look that bad.
Well, and then like towards the end, they have like a whole Bella doll.
Oh, was that I figured it had to have been something. I was wondering if they either like added prosthetics and just did shading, you know, to make her look
Mm-hmm.
bonier than she was. But if it's a doll, that's even cool. Like, yeah,
Yeah, I
crazy.
know. I saw like a behind the scenes thing and it had like the doll laying there. I was like, whoa.
That's crazy. Yeah. It was
Well done.
that was
That
well
part was well
done.
done. Yeah.
Very well done. Like so that's probably the best part of the movie to me. I was like, damn, they did that good. She that looks really bad. Like she looks terrible.
It looks really bad. The best part of the movie to me was when she stands up and her back like cracks.
Yeah. That's what I
He's like,
was so it turns
oh, that
out
part was so funny to me.
yeah. So as you previously explained to me before, yeah, it's basically like this weird crystal fetus thing. And she finally realizes, well, it's not even them, it's Jacob kind of that brings it up, where he's basically like, Oh, the baby's probably craving blood because she's just getting worse and worse and worse and not getting any nutrients. And this baby is literally draining her.
Hmm.
And she starts drinking fucking blood. And she's like, oh my God, it tastes good. So she's not even a vampire yet. And she's already like, nummy num nums. They talk about the naming of the baby a little prior as well. And it was Renesmee. And what was the other one? If it
If
was
it
a
was a
boy.
boy, Edward Jacob.
Oh yeah, which was so weird.
Edward Jacob. They would have called him EJ.
I'm just glad that Rosalie was like, at least there was someone who was like, this is a dumb fucking name.
Renesmee or Edward Jacob.
Renesmee.
Either way, they still
I
kept
mean,
it.
either way, yeah. Ugh. And yeah, so they inject venom into her while she's going through labor, or after she goes through labor, and basically she dies straight up because
Hmm.
Edward has to fucking like eat the baby out of her.
Hmm.
Fucking
He has
crazy.
to chew it out of her. And then they were like very nonchalantly looking at the baby and just kind of like,
I know. I'm like,
you
she's
just chewed her open. What did you think was going to happen?
well, yeah, and then she's like literally like struggling for breath, and they just fucking he lets her die there, and then he I feel like he waits. Like they even talk
Hmm.
about how it's so imperative of the timing
And he
to
waits
give
till she's
it.
already dead.
Yeah, because Carlisle is supposed to be the one to do it because he's done it before and he knows exactly and yada yada yada, and then they just all do it all willy nilly. So
Hmm.
it's just kind of stupid. I don't.
I love the sound that makes my bite when he was like biting her. It's like, hop, hop.
Oh. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to mention before the actual birth of the what the wolves think is a demon baby. So that's
Hmm.
why Jacob has gone off, like him and two others who have his back, basically. Leah and what was the other boy's
Seth.
name? Seth. They
It's
stick with
Leah's
him.
brother.
Oh, okay, that's right. Okay, so they are siblings. I couldn't remember if they were actual siblings or because they all, when they were in a pack, they considered themselves family too.
Hmm. Right.
So yeah, so basically they have Jacob's back and they're trying to distract the wolves because one, they want to kill Bella and the baby basically because they think it's going to be like an insatiable monster, basically Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. And they've been preventing them from hunting, so they're kind of starving and Bella's drinking all the goddamn blood.
Like share a little bit, but they don't want to drink human blood anyway, I guess.
Yeah, because it'll, as you know, Jasper had to get away because he is a recovering addict. And
I'm like, just why couldn't they just see if I was a vampire, I would just take stock or like have ownership over a blood bank and
and
then
right, and then have some
Blade
mysteriously like,
style.
yeah, oh yeah, right. I know. Or, I mean, come on, if let's get real. If I were a vampire,
You would have no problem
I
killing people.
no, well, I would have like a farm, like a human farm. Like, like I would keep just a couple of humans alive. And I mean, they can continuously make me blood and they could be chill. Like, I guess that's what my familiars would be. Like, kind of
That's
like,
usually what if that's what old school familiars were.
yeah,
It's like
like
you just
that's what
kind
I
of
would have. Yeah, like an
snacked on
endless
them.
supply. Exactly. They're gonna be my little snacks.
And then they clean my house too. Win-win.
Yeah. And I take care of them. It's fine.
I wouldn't mind being like a vigilante vampire, like Edward, like going around
Yeah.
killing like killers.
Yeah. That would be fun.
Hmm. That'd be fun. And then I would literally say, "Yes, you deserve to die, and
And
I
I hope
hope
you
you
burn
burn
in
in
hell.
hell."
Oh, but yeah, so that's what's been going on. And during that time, Bella is improving, and Edward can then, like, he can fucking hear the baby's thoughts. Come on. He says,
It's not a
oh,
regular baby though.
the baby's gonna be good like you and not bad like me, Bella. I don't know. I just feel like this whole I'm like, you keep saying you're a bad boy, but I feel like you talk too much, and that means you're not, no, you're not actually one.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's too,
It's like saying you're a nice guy.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly where he's like, I'm a nice guy, Bella. I'm a nice guy. He's like, no, I'm a bad boy. I'm like,
I'm
no,
a
you're
bad
not.
boy.
Look at all those graduation caps you have. You've been just redoing high school for a fucking 100 years, you fucking weirdo.
Yeah, ew. Why? Who would want to do that?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's literal hell to me.
Because he's a psychopath.
Yeah. That's your
But
first clue. He wants to pick up fucking high school chicks.
not in a bad boy type of way. More of he's just like Arrested Development. He's like fucking Buster. He's Buster Bluth.
Oh, I mean, he's a good looking guy too.
Especially when he has that hook for a hand. So for the end of this film, the big climactic point is again the kind of the wolf and vampires fighting again, which it was exciting. Like I said, the second half of this movie was decent. They really should have cut out a big chunks at the beginning. And this would have felt just paced better and felt like more of a payoff. Yeah, because basically there's like a little bit of a fight, but then they think everyone thinks Bella's dead, and Jacob comes in to see the baby, and then yeah, he imprints on Renesmee like immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like a weird little they're doing, like I said, they had these weird like kind of cutscenes in this one too. Like I called it like the interstellar, inner space, like kind of things, like with everything going on and oh, him thinking about oh, and to protect her. I at least like that they didn't make
Oh, right, right.
like
Overlay it. Yeah.
romantic. Like when he
Yeah.
was saying it, like it literally did feel like a I want to protect this child, or like, almost like he's the father, a little bit kind
Yeah.
of like
Yeah.
it's almost the vibe that it gave
Kind of
off.
like her guardian.
Yeah, or like her knight, like if she were a
Right,
fucking
right.
princess. Like that's literally how it felt. Like, oh, I'm gonna be her knight. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but not hopefully in the Guinevere Lancelot vibe.
I
Because
mean, I think that's what it turns into eventually, though.
it does get romantic. I was like, oh,
Well,
like it's
because
just
she
yeah.
becomes full grown
I don't give
quickly.
a shit. I don't give a
How would
shit.
it not? What it like
That is just an
imprinting? That's
excuse for pedo behavior.
you're like, how is it not grooming? You're there for her. Oh.
Yeah, no, I am yeah, I'm highly against it. I'm like, no, no, I want to hit him. I want to roll up a magazine. I want to hit him in his fucking nose.
No, get away.
Bad dog.
No.
Bad dog. But he does her a solid because basically once he's imprinted, then other wolves will not and cannot basically fuck with another wolf's imprinted person or whoever. Uh,
Hmm.
as he says, it's their one most absolute law.
I know. Stupid. The way he comes down the stairs and says it. It's their one absolute law.
And then that's when you get another one of those, yeah, like the overlay scenes with like Bella, like the stuff going on in Bella's blood and her dead body. Because now they've basically been preparing her body. They're going real CGI and just showing the silvery vampire venom
Going
coursing through her dead
reknitting
body.
her
Well, yeah, because I feel like
skins.
that's the problem. Yeah, like how did it work considering he did not put it in her heart quick enough to where it doesn't seem like it was like the whole point is it's supposed to then go through her blood flow when she's still partially alive
And her
was
heart's
I
still
the
beating.
concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it doesn't seem like it did that. I mean, she was like fucking dead for like a day, right?
Well, yeah, like it took her a while to like fully turn, but she wasn't dead the whole time. Like
Oh, okay. Okay.
she was
Okay.
only dead for like I think her heart like just stopped and when he put the venom in her or whatever.
Oh, and then she was like almost in like a coma-like
Yeah, yeah,
state
yeah.
after that. Okay, okay. So yeah, so there had been some time though that passed, and they just thought she was dead that whole time. But it still just seemed weird. Yeah, it was just weird to me because it goes through all of that, and then Andrew had watched it with me, and even he was kind of like over it towards the end with this one. Because again, it's the song. Like, and it's like, just give me some orchestra. Like, I want music, but like, it doesn't have to be like an actual real song from some indie band every single time.
It's got a showcase.
The quote that we end and how I will end as well with this synopsis is it's going to end with her opening her eyes and a shitty song. To quote Andrew, and that's exactly what happened.
Uh-huh. It wasn't a shitty song though, was it?
No, it wasn't a shitty song. I did tell him that. I was like, it was a fine song, but I mean, it did end with her opening her eyes and a fucking song was playing.
And her eyes were red.
Ooh, because she's been drinking human blood and she just birthed a vampire baby. Nosferatu himself.
Nosferatu. And what did you think about the CGI of that baby?
Oh, I mean, it was it was a little rough.
Not
They showed
proportionate looking either.
It was just like
a little tiny doll head.
It was like an uncanny valley thing or whatever they call that, you know?
Right, when it's like too realistic animation.
But not, I don't know. I just didn't like it.
No, it was terrible.
So that was part 1. So I take it part 2 is going to lead us to where Jacob, I guess, has his own pack. He's imprinted on Renesmee. I guess she's going to be a big chunk of the last film. I don't know if he was seeing her future when he imprinted on her or if it was more of a generality thing. So I take it we're going to see her age or whatever pretty drastically. And that the wolves, obviously, I don't think they're going to be a protagonist or antagonist in the last one because I guess Jacob's kind of handled that. So I'm guessing it's going to be the Volturi or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I could care less because they've, you know what I mean? Like they haven't.
They haven't showed me anything that they did thus far.
Yeah, nothing substantial enough. Like I don't really feel like they're exclusively bad at this point, even if they think it sounds like they're kind of supposed to be. So I don't know. I'm so ready to get this over with.
You're so close to the end. You're the one that volunteered, I'll have you know.
I thought they were going to be like funnier. Like they are. The first one is the funniest. Like it's definitely is the one that I can see why people love it to make fun of it even or ha ha ha. But like the more I get into the series, the more they're just not funny and they're just like poor quality in my opinion.
Yeah, I watched the first one's the one that I watch more so.
Yeah, and for the comedic factor, I could see it. So yeah, with that, guys, we're gonna take a bit of an intermission and give a little shout out to a fellow podcast that plays our promo a lot, and we really appreciate them, and we enjoy listening to their stuff. So check them out.
Thank you.
Life gets busy, and there's always new movies and theaters or shows on one streaming service or another.
Too many, some would say.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to see everything when it first comes out.
So we all become time shifters.
On the Time Shifters podcast, we discuss and review films and television from past and present.
And sometimes from the future.
We also share some discussions with filmmakers and actors, talk about genre news, and share some occasional convention coverage.
So tune in to the Time Shifters podcast.
Available wherever podcasts can be found or by visiting timeshifterspodcast.com.
And we're back.
But yeah.
Part deux. I just always think of Hot Shots. Part deux.
Yeah, me too. Same.
Ooh, those are some movies I'll have to tell Andrew to find for us.
Yes.
The
1
Hot
and 2.
Shots. Yes.
We'll have to make that a double feature.
All right, guys. So now we are in the second movie, the last half. Yesterday, so we were recording this like kind of we recorded
2 days later.
we recorded the first part 1 and then took a break and I watched the part 2 and now we're recording again. So all day yesterday I was at work and I was just kind of like I was actually looking forward to it because I was looking forward to having it done.
Yeah, you're like, yes, it's like a completion.
Yes, I'm like, I did it. Like, I'm gonna find out. And then I'm still, even after watching the part 1, as we discussed, like, I felt like it was just extended for no reason. Like, it was way too long. And I knew, I was like, okay, well, I guess all this Volturi stuff is gonna be crammed into the last one. So yeah, so I was looking forward to just getting it done and then maybe getting more of the main story, it feels like, because so far they haven't really honed in on what is to me like the second main plot line.
Right.
So yeah, I was like, let's do this. I even bought some coffee ice cream,
Nice. Snackies.
little snackies, and then I did the damn thing. And my first note is the end of this miserable journey.
Damn.
I know. Andrew's like, you were just going so hard on these. I'm like, they're just bad. Like, I really, the first one I got a good laugh out of, but then the next couple, I mean, 2 was like, to me, it was just the same movie, just Jacob. So it was
Right.
fine. It still had some funny parts, At least there was a little more just motion, within like what was going on with at least the love story parts in 1 and 2. So it did keep it interesting enough. But man, 3 and 4 are just real, real bad to me, especially 3. 3 was the worst of the worst. And then, yeah. So he's like, no, you got to remember this was for like teenage girls, and he was like, and we know you were not in the romance stuff. I think I was a teenage boy.
You're like, you never were a teenage girl, even when you were a teenage girl.
I mean, and I don't even mean that like, I'm not like most girls. I just weird about romance stuff, I'm just not into that more traditional, really, like I said, I like mine with comedy and stuff. I was because I even said I was like, but I was a teenage girl and I liked Bridget Jones and like stuff like that. I was like, I was lusting after Colin Firth. Like
you were like, I was a 35-year-old woman.
Apparently,
but I wasn't a teenage girl.
And also just I also was like, and he also was saying like, they're teenage vampire books. And I was like, I read Anne Rice. I read teenage vampire books. He was like, those are not for teenagers.
I read all of those.
So it's so funny just thinking about it with that lens. And I'm like, you're right. For most, because like I said, in a lot of the episodes, my coworker, she's about 10 years younger than me, and she was one of these teenage girls watching these at the time. And she does talk about how, it was so swoon worthy and, oh, she was just so jealous of Bella, all the things we've even mentioned and discussed of, because even you do like romance more than I do. So I at least get to see that viewpoint, because I don't share it. So it does seem like I'm probably shitting on it more than I should. I'm not trying to be insulting to anyone who enjoys these movies. And if you were a teenage girl watching them and that's why you enjoy them, like it totally makes sense to me. I just don't have the nostalgia lens, So with that, you're still going to hear me actually say some positive things about this one. The last one is the best one.
But I told you.
It is. I was like, if they could have done this, and even keep the first as the first. It's fine. Like I said, it is a vibe and it's very funny, like quirky and all their bad acting, and them starting out. But from 2 to 4, they could have used this same energy and I would have actually been way more on board with it.
Mm-hmm.
It begins with Bella fully waking as her vampire self, and we're getting a little bit of that. She finally acts pretty well in this one.
And she looks better.
Yeah, and we just get more facial acting and everything from her. And I'm like, so was it a choice for you to have been just so surly before, or is this you just finally coming into your own and you're got the hang of acting now? Like I don't
I think
know
it's
which
supposed
it
to be
is.
that I think it's supposed to be that she's so much more graceful and whatever as a vampire.
Okay, so
That
what
she's
you're
shedding
telling
her
me
awkward human
is
self.
that was an acting choice and she was just acting that bad on purpose before.
I think so.
I hope so.
I think it was a little bit of both. Like I said, I never liked the way she portrayed Bella anyway, based on the books. But I think that was an acting choice, and also she wasn't.
And probably with the script she was given as well, yeah, of how the
Yeah.
script made Bella seem, as you mentioned, compared to
Right.
the books. So yeah, she had her baby, and then she's like, Renesmee. And then he's like, she's doing great. But she goes and frolics to hunt. Like, I understand, like, oh, okay, she is a newborn. Like, we gotta give her some blood or whatever. But I don't know, still, I'm just like, you just had this kid, like, you haven't even met it yet, like, fully. And they go and frolic off into the forest. And
Well, it's because they don't want her to meet the baby if she hasn't
I get
quenched her
it.
thirst yet.
But the one complaint I have in this first half of this movie, of part two specifically, is that she just doesn't seem maternal at all, though.
No, she
Like,
doesn't.
it's just such a small little, and it's such a huge part of the story, that again, I feel like the problem with these films for me is them just always focusing on Bella and Edward. Like, we get it, they're in love, that's
Mm-hmm.
great, but like, they're obviously, why have all the other shit going on if this is all we're ever going to focus on? Like, there's just so much, there's so much more.
It
Like,
all comes back to their love.
I know, and I understand that, but goddamn, like, so they finally do get to the point where they're like, okay, we got to like tell her what happened. So again, I can understand why they're wanting to keep her away, but she just has no problem with it. She's just like, okay, I finally
If
got what I
Edward's
wanted.
there.
I'm a vampire now.
Mm-hmm.
This is great. Fuck that baby. And then I like how Jacob saw like introducing her to her own daughter and that part was weird, and then at least they show her picking up on the weirdness and then being like, what the fuck.
Yeah.
So when she kicks
Printed
Jacob
on my baby.
yeah her yelling was so funny. I like how she's like, you nicknamed my daughter after the Loch Ness monster. I'm like, you named her Renesmee. This is your fault.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that part is so hilarious to me.
Oh man. But Jacob, okay, so he gets such the short end of the stick, like really, because like he loves Bella. He's actually made Bella happy. Like she like lights up every time she sees him.
Mm-hmm.
And
the only time she smiles.
yeah, and he basically has done everything he can to like do right by her and protect her. And then he fucking imprints on her stupid ass baby to where then he's just like, oh, well, guess I'm just stuck with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so weird.
Now he's stuck
like,
with them forever.
Forever. Yeah. So it's like, oh, so forever he has to see Bella and Edward together. Like, and so then you're like, oh, that's kind of messed up. But then as the movie had progressed, and then like she is growing at a quick rate, but it's still fairly slow. Like I thought we were gonna fully see her as an adult, like by the end of the movie or something, like, and not in flash, like visions or anything. Like she was just gonna grow up that quickly. So the pace at which she was growing was not fast enough for the implications of, that it seems like it might be kind of romantic because of how they ended at the very end. Let me go to my note real quick.
I don't know though. I could see that because like you had said, like he was her knight. Like I feel like that would happen.
No, and again, I agree with all that until, okay, I found my note. It's when Edward and Jacob are having a moment after everything's said and done, and Edward's basically like, I'm glad that we have you, and I'm glad that Renesmee has you, like.
And he says, "Should I call you Dad?"
Yes, and then you see the Alice like flash forward, vision, And she's like an adult, like holding hands with Jacob on the beach and stuff. And I'm just like, vomit in my mouth, vomit immediately in my mouth. Like, you are literally raising her as a child, and then you're gonna fuck her? Like, ah!
Yeah, basically.
I mean,
That's what imprinting means.
That's the implication. So I am just, no, they ruined it. Like, they ruined everything by doing that. If they would have just even left it where he didn't say that line, where he's just like, don't worry, Edward, I'll look after her. I don't know, some bullshit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Then we could have kept the white knight idea in our head where he is just her knight. Like, that is,
Yeah,
I
he
could
is
have
her
lived
friend,
with that.
protector, whatever.
Yeah, he's always going to be her guardian, like looking after her. That's fine. And I mean, technically, she is probably still going to live longer than Jacob, right? Like, so.
I mean, yeah, because I mean, they both live like a really long time. I don't remember about the hybrids, but the wolves do.
Oh, wolves also live long. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
because I think they kind of freeze in time where they're at as well, or they just age like very, very slowly.
okay, kind of like Saiyans and Dragon Ball.
I think we had that discussion before.
Yeah, I think we have.
That feels familiar.
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, I keep having to remind myself. Oh, they're like Saiyans. Okay, so that's my opinion on the Jacob stuff. So in between that, though, they had got an enchanting little cottage that is on the Cullen land, and now they get to finally do their vampire fucking, because they made sure they got to all that very early on.
Oh, of course. She's got to try out her new body.
This is the entire, see, well, in my eyes, and I'm watching this because that was my argument to Andrew. I'm like, it's still like a fantasy series, like ultimately, like, yes, it's romance, but it has this fantastical plot line. And that was always my issue before. Is like, I want more of the fantastical plot line stuff with the Volturi and, all the, like the wolves. And I want like Lord of the Rings. And instead, I feel like everything has led up more to the fucking moments than, like the other moments. Which again, I mean, it's a romance novel, so.
It's probably because in the books, it's been a little while since I've read them now, but from my memories, in like the love making scenes, it was almost like it faded to black. Like, I don't remember it having much detail in the books. So I think that's why they focused on it so much in the movies. Because that's what the viewers wanted to see.
Like, this is the fan service. Okay.
Exactly.
Because that's when Andrew kept saying, this is for teenage girls. And I'm like, well, I was like,
a little risque.
I was like, you say it's for teenagers, but yeah, I'm like, it's pretty risque, considering, like, mostly it's just like, I want to fuck a vampire.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy on the vampire fucking. We're the same temperature now. But I'm like, so do they sweat? I know he ran her a bath. Do they sweat? Because they obviously have bodily fluids if he can get a girl pregnant.
Yeah, but I don't think it's like that. I think that's more of just like the sensation, probably, because I mean, they are cold. So that means they can feel warm, I'm assuming. So,
no, I know that. I'm just, so to like warm up their cold dead body.
Yeah. Well, and you still got to clean yourself, I'm guessing. Like, yeah, you're like cool and perfect, but you still get dirty. Like,
right.
I'm sure. Unless somehow the vampire stuff can like combat all skin oils and whatever. Like, I don't know what the extent of.
I don't think they have pores anymore. I think that's why they look so good too.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So yeah, they probably don't sweat, but I mean, they got to shine that skin up.
I wonder if his semen is diamond chips.
I don't know, but I mean,
that sounds painful.
Yeah, I was like, then it should have actually hurt her when they had sex on the island. Because then it would have been like basically shards of glass like going through your cervix and into your uterus. Like, just pow! Like a fucking shotgun of glass. Because they even do mention, because she's like, oh man, like we never get tired. We never, like we can just go forever. There's always energy. So she's kind of like, what's stopping us from like fucking forever? And he even is like, oh, basically. Emmett and Rosalie were gone for a decade just fucking, apparently.
We're going to be worse than them.
I know. I like how they're like, our love's better than everyone's.
We're different.
And then Charlie's been so worried, her dad, And they're basically like, okay, well, when we tell everyone that like Bella died, like we're gonna have to dip like we usually do. And Jacob's like, oh, hell nah, that's not happening.
Hmm.
And then Alice is also, though, having visions of the Volturi arriving. So Jacob makes kind of an executive decision to where he shows himself to Charlie. And
Yeah.
this was one of the better comedic scenes that they've done in the entire franchise. Like with him stripping in front of him, and Charlie's like, what is going on?
He's like, put your clothes on.
So yeah, but he also handles it way better than anyone would expect.
Yes.
And he's kind of chill with it though.
Good old
And
Charlie.
yeah, so and this is again though where they got to do a couple of music montages in between. We're getting the whole we got a baby and Charlie like he can know but he can't know. So they don't tell him they're vampires. So they're able to kind of keep him willfully ignorant. So the Volturi technically can't do anything. They haven't broken any laws. Jacob can tell whoever the fuck he wants if he's a wolf. That's like no sweat off their backs.
Right.
They aren't wolf people. So I like that was the reasoning. And again, yeah, we get little music montages of like her and Emmett wrestling because she's with her newborn strength.
Oh, that was so bad when he was like carrying that stump.
It was very cheesy. So we get our little cheesy elements in there, and then it pretty much steps it up the second half of the movie. The foreshadowing from the first with Arena does come back into play. She shows up to come to see them, I guess, to try to get over her stuff with Laurent and them and all of that. And then she sees Renesmee. And so without letting them explain or anything, she just takes off and goes straight to the Volturi.
Yeah. Traitor.
I know.
Especially because once you find out later that it was like their mother, I don't know if it was the real mother, but they had an immortal child. Why would you want to turn them in?
I guess it's more of, well, it happened in my family, so it should happen to yours.
I guess.
And she's already has beef against them, let's be honest.
Right.
So for her eyes, it's like, well, my family didn't just get to live, so yours doesn't. Kind of thing. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to be vindictive or more of just the trauma of what she knows an immortal child also is capable of and like what their existence is going to be. Because, I mean, was she on board with her mother having an immortal child? Like she could have also thought it was fucked up then and just been like, no, what you're doing is like terrible. Which I'm like, at least the vampires, I mean, at least they know that much, like, yeah, they're really horrible and they go around killing other vampires and humans and whatever. But I mean, they do have enough regard for life to where they're like, no, we can't be like turning fucking children and shit. Like,
I think that's mostly though because that they can take out whole villages. They have like no control. They just don't want to be caught or like I don't think it's because of their moral compass.
You think it's more for self-preservation.
Self-preservation. Yeah.
Well, yeah, self-preservation, absolutely, but also just along the lines of too, because I mean, yeah, children like that are going to be eating all your food sources at astronomical rates. Like,
right.
They're children. They have no, like, yeah, like they're non-adults. Like, you can't put that existence on to someone with I don't know if it's a disease, but whatever, your condition.
Your vampirism.
Yeah.
Your condition.
He's like, she's like, just dropped in to see what
condition was in. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so she just though like yeah, instantly goes and fucking turns them in, saying it's an immortal child. You get a little backstory on that as well. Again, pretty interesting stuff that I feel like all this Volturi stuff and just the vampire lore in general could have been sprinkled throughout the films more. I'm sure it was in the books.
Right.
Because I mean that's how books work. But in the films, they did a disservice, in my opinion, of focusing so heavily on the love story to where like I said, by the time I get here, I still feel like
they rushed it.
Yeah, it's like rushed, and I'm still don't feel like I'm 100% really know these people or know the villains or even feel enough to be like, yeah,
They are a villain. Because like in the movies, you're like, but I mean, are they really a villain? Doesn't really show them doing anything like that bad.
Nothing. Yeah, you just get these little whisperings, and they're just kind of like almost like their government system, or the overseers of whatever. Yeah. But we're never exposed truly to it, except for those tiny little tidbits. And again, I wish I got more, because the second half it really just starts going into it. You get plans getting made. You get Alice with her, like said, Volturi vision. So basically she takes off because, and that's another thing too, like I kind of remembered that they were interested in Alice, but like it's still not, they don't show it as such of a threat that it is.
Right.
So then when they're like, oh no, they're coming for Alice, and I was like, and it's the excuse they can have to come and get Alice, basically, is what they're saying. But it was kind of thrown in there to where even I was like, wait, why would Alice leave? Like, I don't understand. I should have a little more understanding of this by the time we're in the, big climactic ending.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, do you know now, or do you want me to tell you why?
Oh yeah, because they want her powers to put her in the guard and stuff.
Well,
right?
that, and she didn't want anybody, because she didn't want to be around Edward, who can read her mind, because that guy can see every thought you had when he touches you.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm just, again, they don't. I mean, I guess some people would be like, no, you're an idiot because they mentioned this stuff. But again, it's like so little throughout it. And then I've watched these fairly close together to where, I feel like if they just emphasize certain things a little more, I would have just cared a little more, because I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess they're after Alice. I get why. It's whatever. I don't know. They showed Dakota Fanning, like she has a beef against them, kind of, but it was never fleshed out enough. And
so what did you think, that it was all just a vision?
oh, so that was the biggest part to me, where I was like, oh shit, okay. I was happy with it. Like I couldn't believe like the wolves died like that. I was like, oh man, like they didn't deserve that. But when they ripped Jasper's head off, and I was like, oh, I even was like, holy fucking shit. Like my notes are literally like, Alice shows up and R2 takes Carlisle's fucking head off. I was like, and there was like a full battle. I was like, oh my God. And then I'm like, they killed Seth? They killed Leah? I'm like, what is happening? I was like, this is what I've been waiting for. Because before this, they basically assembled a bunch of vampires that are on their side, where they can prove that the child is not an immortal child, that she's like this hybrid thing, that's almost unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
And that way they can plead to the Volturi. And Alice skipped out because she had her own stuff, but because of the nature of everyone's powers, she's been staying away. Even makes a backup plan for Jacob and Renesmee to get the fuck out of there if need be. So Bella the whole time is taking this as they're not going to live through any of this.
Right.
Like, okay, we got to do what's best for them if all shit breaks loose. So they have this plan. I do like that you get the introduction again to all these other vampires. Like it's interesting. I wish we would have got more of that throughout the films as well.
Mm-hmm. That's heavily in the book.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So I'm like, oh, these characters probably mean something to the readers, but not to me.
Yeah.
The Slavic vampires, like the Draculas, they were my favorite. Yeah, so I did enjoy all that, because that's how we get this amazing battle, is because they do meet up with the Volturi and with the wolves, and even they're like, oh shit, like they assembled a pretty
sizable
fucking team.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're working with fucking wolves now, like and yeah, and so they trick us because Alice shows up and given her hands because he can see everything. Oh, he's so special. And in that moment, they play us. Yeah, they play us, and you think this is what's happening, but really he's just seeing her vision. And so none of this actual cool stuff fucking happens.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, it will if you don't change your mind.
I know, because the battle scene was fun. It was well done. Again, I was like, thinking this was the Battle of Hogwarts, where you're getting like these deaths out the wazoo that you just kind of were not expecting in certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on board. I thought, oh man, a good twist. They're gonna leave it to where, yeah, they all fucking die and Jacob just takes off with Renesmee. Like that would be the sweetest fucking ending. And no, yeah, she's like, psych, this is what'll happen if you do it, which it does show Bella like ripping Arto's head off, so that was cool.
Right. Then he'd like jump on his back to like help her rip him off. Rip him off.
Yeah. He was like, yeah, like jumping on his back and like breaking it. And then she was like able to like twist his head off because at that point they're like enraged because like, they're wolf friends and all these vampires that were helping them. Yeah. But no, none of that happens. And Arto's like scared shitless now because, oh, that's what we haven't even talked about was Bella's power.
Oh, yeah. I liked it.
In the beginning, yeah, they're kind of implying that like, oh, she's just handling her thirst much better than any newborn, things like that. So where it does lead to the point where they mention they think her type of power is a shield. So she can essentially null and void things. It makes sense that when she was a human, that's why her mind couldn't be read or any of the vampire's powers could really be used against her.
Right.
And so with her vampire power, they just expand on that. And she can like literally send out almost like like a defense shield, like an energy defense shield from herself.
Right.
And then that's supposed to be a big part of the battle as well of what she can do. And now when Arto's making the decisions of what's going to happen, never mind. Because even in the vision, before even the big battle, at first in the vision, they even have it to where he meets the child and he doesn't want to do anything against them for that reason, but he's still being greedy and wanting Alice. And then he's still coming up with reasons to get them to attack them. And that's because in the vision, he kills Arena. And that's when all hell really breaks loose with Arena and Carlisle's deaths. Then they're just like, no holds bar. So after he gets his vision and we're actually where nothing actually happened or interesting, he basically knows he's fucked and there's no escape, that all his homies are going to be killed.
I like that one guy that says finally.
I know. I enjoyed him too, and I liked seeing Dakota Fanning's character get killed because she just seems like such a bitch.
Yeah, that was a good comeuppance.
Yeah, but again, doesn't actually happen. So nobody, and that was the most like aggravating part to me. Like, yeah, I'm glad that okay, some of the wolves didn't die and all that, and Carlisle, sure, I guess. But nothing happens to the Volturi. I'm on the Slavic side because
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, because at the end, they're basically like, so what? We're all just going to go around like business as usual, no harm, no foul. And they're
just
like,
wait for the next time they find something to come attack us or sneak in.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, that's what we're going to do. I'd be like, oh, hell no. I know this is going to work in my favor. I'm going to rip your fucking head off.
Exactly, while they're on the run.
I'm the captain now.
I like how he was like, we're not saying we were perfect, but we didn't hide what we were. He's like, we would just said, yes, we want to kill you. We weren't trying to hide.
Exactly. Like, I'd rather have a forefront vampire like ruler than the sniveling little kind like that is. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. And then even Carlisle, I feel like even Carlisle's being a bitch in the situation too.
I like how he's like, I won't ask anybody to fight. And Edward's like, I will ask you to fight.
Yes, I did enjoy that scene too, where he's like, okay, Carlisle won't, but I will. Yeah, so overall, I would have loved if they would have kept the vision ending. And so while this may have been the best one, it was also one of the most disappointing for that reason.
Yeah.
So it did feel like a big letdown. And like I said, then it ends with a weird, like, call you dad and we're gonna go live. And it ends with them in the field, the violet field, just as it had began with them. So
with the love story.
Boo.
Watching each other glitter.
And now they can be together forever.
I'm like, forever?
Forever?
I don't know if I like that.
So that was the Twat Saga.
Twilight Saga is
It's
complete.
complete. I mean, I guess I'm glad I did it. I don't.
Now you'll get the memes.
I'm happy I get the memes now. If I really wanted to, and I could be like, I'll read the book so I can get more of the vampire stuff, like the lore, yeah, and all that. Like that was remotely interesting. But I also remember trying to read it, and it just wasn't really my writing style. So I have to say, this is me, yeah, completely closing the book on this franchise. Yeah, it is just not my cup of tea. It's definitely, though, you can see what it helped spark. It is definitely a forefather for the teen romance dramas with the fantastical or dystopian elements. You know, you had your Hunger Games, we had
Mhm.
Divergent, we had Maze Runner, which I will argue all of those are better than these. So, I mean,
Oh, the Hunger Games for sure is my favorite out of
and
those.
and to be honest, I don't even like the Hunger Games. Like, they're okay to me,
The
but I
book
mean, they're
was the
better
books were
than
really good.
this. Yeah, I enjoyed the Maze Runner movie, that first one for teenagers. I thought it was fine. You know, it's that kind of thing. They're taking popular book series and just making them as fan servicey as they can for those fans, and then hopefully they'll get some more teenage fans who haven't read the book, you
Mm.
know. So it's fine. I get it. It's just not my genre. I think we can fully,
Well, you just don't like young adults anyway, so
yeah, yeah. So overall, what were your thoughts after doing this whole Twilight watch again, and with your knowledge and information of the books? How do you feel?
I mean, it's never compared to the books ever. So I wasn't disappointed because I've seen it so many times.
And it's something that you would still go back to?
Oh yeah, because I love to read something and then watch a
Hmm.
movie. Just like I've read Memoirs of a Geisha so many times and then watched that movie.
Yes, I have done that. That was a book that I did enjoy.
So I'll still watch it because of the nostalgia and like I said, I like the
Hmm.
books.
I gave it a shot. I looked at it with an objective lens. I could see why people liked it at the time. Definitely not for me. I hope if you are a Twilight fan, you don't come for me. But for as
They
much as I
will.
chat on this,
They
um,
will. I still want to go to Forks, Washington. I would love to go
oh,
see that
absolutely,
area.
I
I'd love
would
to
go there
go.
too. I mean, not because of Twilight, because it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I like both.
Oh,
I'd
yeah, it was.
like to see exactly where they went. I want to see that meadow.
I know. Is that a real meadow? Like, were they really out in the woods?
I don't
That would be cool
know.
to find out.
But that La Push Beach is a real
Hmm.
place.
That would make sense. It was very beautiful.
Hmm. And then like the tribe that's there, they have a whole I think like a place you can stay, kind of like a Twilight themed place.
Oh, like Airbnb sitch.
That's a good thing about the Twilight fans, though, is that they do anytime they do something, they always like donate all the proceeds to the tribe.
Oh, well, that's very cool of them. So there we
Hmm.
go. Positivity coming
Yeah.
from the series. I'll give it that. Unlike the other author who shall
Yeah.
not be named.
Right. All negative
Yeah.
energy.
So, yeah, definitely hats off to that. That is very cool that they do that. So with that, guys, we hope you enjoyed me trudging along in this series and not enjoying it, but giving you the facts of how I felt about it. And we had Jessica running defense over here.
Right. Like, no, it's not bad. Come
Or at least
on.
explaining things too, because yeah, it does at least, yeah, I'm glad you read all the books and we were able to get that side of it as well. Well, as always, guys, you can catch us at Film Gazers on all the social medias and the Film Gazers podcast community on Discord. If you'd like to jump in there, if you want to yell at me about Twilight, you are more than welcome to do so in there. Come be part of the community. Come convince me otherwise. So we appreciate everyone on this Valentine's Day. and would like to say that we just love every one of our listeners, and we appreciate any downloads and any participation. We hope you look forward to the rest of the Face Your Fears February. And then, of course, we will have Mary Jane March, and we'll be making hopefully a very special episode for the indie movie that we're going to be doing. And we will announce that on the actual Mothman Prophecy episode, and that's where you'll get the full information.
Yeah.
So with that, time to hit the dusted trail.
Until next time.
Later,
Later,
taters.
taters.
Bada bing, bada boom.
We did it.
We did it.
Thus ends Breaking Dawn.
Oh, good.